Hello, you're watching Encore. I'm Richelle Harrison Plesse in Paris. Coming up. They are men and women, young and old, engineers, language teachers, students and housewives. But they're also refugees fleeing the horrors of war. I Am With Them is a new photo exhibition in Paris that highlights their plight, following them on a gruelling journey across Europe. Through the lens, photographer Anne Abitbol-Ravanello reminds us that migrants are not just numbers, they are people with names, faces and stories. Well, Anne joins me in the studio today. Anne Abitbol-Ravanello, welcome to the show. Thanks for being with us today.
Thanks for having me.
Yes, you're welcome. Well, you're a photographer and documentary maker. Your collection of photos can be seen in a new book and exhibition called I Am With Them, which is on at the Arab World Institute in Paris. You spent nearly 6 months following thousands of people on their journey across Europe, many of them fleeing persecution. What inspired you to pick up your camera? How did the project come about?
Well, I got sick, like most of us, last summer. I had nausea, like I couldn't stand it anymore. And then one day we found a truck with people stuffed in it, dead. And
in Austria, wasn't it?
Yeah, in Austria. They came the shame truck. And for me, that was like the impossible arriving just here, in Europe. So I decided that it was time for us to look at them one by one, that they are not a flow. There are maybe thousands and hundreds of thousands, but there are 1 + 1 at the end. And so I decided to go and try to look. I can't look at 1.5 million, but I'm trying hard to look at them standing up in front of me, so in front of you, because they are more than this pain, they are more than this exile, they are more than this war. They are human beings like you and me.
Of course. Well, the journey took you from Greece to Macedonia, through the Balkans, then Austria and Germany. Let's take a look at some of your work.
Thank you.
Some beautiful photos there. What exactly were you trying to capture?
I was trying to look at them and say to the people, just look at them. And I'm trying to capture who they are. Like this guy, Ethem, is a father fleeing war with his son, and he decided that it was enough. And these kids are the kids from Samara, and this is Hassan. He was a baker and he got a bullet in his back. This is Adam, he's a guy from Aleppo. This is Ayed, his daughter is sick. This is Abbas, he's Shiite and his wife is Sunnite. They are from Iraq, and people wanted to kill them because they were a mixed wedding. Adam is Christian and Hassan is Sunnite, but who cares, And they are just people fleeing war, meaning on that road of Greece, if you follow the numbers of OECD, it's 90% of war refugee. Right. They are asylum-seekers. They have the right to be here. Mm-hmm. They have the right to ask for us for shelter. Mm-hmm. So I decided to also break the fears of people in Europe to show to them who they are. And
As people.
As you and me. And as people, you know, you have nice people and funny people. And people are not very nice, but they are fathers and mothers, and they were bakers and doctors, and they don't want to be here. They want to go back home, but they can't.
Well, we see the squalor, the terrible conditions that these people have to endure. And reading some of the text in the book next to each photo was absolutely heartbreaking. What was it like to be on the front line of it all?
Very shameful, I have to admit. The first time I did the road, I was discovering it with them, meaning I thought that after the sea, they don't know how to swim. After the fear of the sea, of that thing, it was going to be okay, meaning they were in Europe. But then every day was worse than the day before. The Route des Balkans was a nightmare, and I was walking with them thinking, this is not possible. I am a European, and all these photos were made before the deal we did with Turkey.
Right.
At a moment where Europe could have done something, could have done its job. We could have done it.
Well, let's just go back to the exhibition. One of our reporters, Fanny Allard, spoke to a few people at the Arab World Institute. Here's what they had to say.
You can lose the individual in the news that we see every day, which is about the political situation. But in the exhibition, you're struck by the hopelessness of the situation, that people have nothing and no choice.
I was moved because we see all these faces and hear their stories, and we realize these people are just like us, and they could be us, in fact. Usually we don't hear their individual stories, so we see them like a big horde of people, and we're scared, or we want to run away.
And Anne, I'd like to know how you went about approaching your subjects. How did you go up
I was
to them?
traveling with a translator from Lebanon who was speaking the same Arabic than the Syrian and the Iraqis, more or less. And we walked with them, you know, we carried bags and we talked. And after hours of conversation and sharing a piece of bread, I was saying, okay, let's stand up. So I take a photo of you standing up in the midst of this. So the pictures is just the result of a meeting.
And is there one story that really stood out for you? One particular photo or person or story?
I don't know. You know, I look at them all. Like this guy, Ziad, is a Iraqi boy, and he was a member of the SWAT, and which is the Special Forces, and he wanted to serve his country. And he realized that when he was arresting people from ISIS, they were released 2 days later against $10,000. He didn't want it. He didn't want the money. And so he screamed quite loudly. And 2 months later, he got a bullet in his back. So he finished himself in the hospital. And he ran away because you can't quit SWAT.
Right.
So now he's in Germany, alone, 23.
Wow. Tell me about the poem Hanan. It was written by a woman that you met along the way called Maysoon, sorry about the pronunciation, and it was written to honour her daughter's best friend.
Maysoon, I met first the oldest daughter, which is Rania, and her mother was an English teacher in the Réseau, and she wrote poems for children about the children in the war, for them to try to express something. So both of the kids knew the poems by heart. So they said it to the camera, and we put them in the book. And the first one is Hanan the daughter talking about the best friend Hanan who died in the garden. And the other one is a little boy saying, I'm 10 years old, I'm the age of the butterfly. And please, I'm asking the adults to give me back my life, peace, and shelter.
Well, we actually have a clip of the poem Hanan, so let's roll it.
Suddenly, a loud noise shakes the walls of my house. I run towards my mother. I'm trembling like the jasmine flowers in my garden. We run to find shelter. After some time, we go home. I run to the garden to see Anan. I'm bringing her some perfumes and flowers. My heart is full of joy. On a stone, I read Anan's name. My heart breaks. She is dead. She's no longer with me. I scatter the flowers and perfume on her grave. My dearest friend is buried amongst the garden blooms.
What a beautiful poem, and I can't imagine what these children have to go through to just be there. And I'm just going to remind the people watching at home, you can catch the exhibition I Am With Them at the Arab World Institute here in the French capital. It's on until the 3rd of July. Well, before we go, we do ask our guests to choose a piece of art that they love to close out the show. Anne, yours is the song Constamment je brûle, or I'm Constantly Burning in English, by the French singer Armand Méliès. So we'll leave you with a clip. Anne Abitbol Ravanello, thanks so much for being with us here on Encore today.
Thank you so much.
For more culture, check out our website, and do remember we're also on Facebook, Twitter, Instagram and Snapchat. Stay tuned to France 24, lots more coming up after this.